to this week's episode of Team MBS Draft Central. Jeff Barnes here, along with Bill Carroll and Greg Rector, here to bring you this week's Mock Draft 2.0. We're also going to have special guest in the house, Kendall Paul, defensive back from East Texas A&M. You'll be very impressed with him in his film. So just one guest tonight because we're going to be loaded with guests the remainder of the season. So a lot of things are going on the past couple of weeks. Free agency starting to get to that point where it slows down and you don't hear about everything every 5 minutes. All of a sudden you hear about a signing here, a signing there. Teams, the pro days are in full swing. We're starting to hear about 30 visits. We're getting into the real meat and potatoes of the draft process.
Yes.
Yep.
We're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Because the Super Bowl is the draft, but we made it through the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. And it's full-blown lying season out there.
Oh,
I don't care what rumors you hear, especially regarding the Dallas Cowboys. They're not trading up to get Travis Hunter, folks. And there's no way in heck that Stephen Jones was going to allow them a $95 million dead cap money hit by trading him to the Cleveland Browns. Okay? So stop spreading the rumors. It is just ridiculous.
People will believe anything this time of year. I figured that part out.
Yep.
If you were to put out a story that says Jerry Jones buys pet aardvark, people would believe it. They would expect to see the pet aardvark walking around the state.
That's more believable, actually. I'd at least click on that link.
But instead, the next person I want running the Cowboys, Charlotte Jones, opened up the Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington, Texas, on the 25th here. 3,507 men who have deserved to be rewarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Their stories will all be told now, and that's thanks to Charlotte Jones. So there you go. There's some good news on that front. But other than that, let's get into these mock drafts.
All right. So, Bill, we're going to let you go out there and knock it out the park with yours first. Right off the bat.
So this is not the mock I originally had planned to present. I had another one with a couple of trades in it, and then it died or whatever. It didn't work. And then when I tried to recreate it, the same trades that had flown through the last time got denied. And we're getting close to the time of the show, so I went with this one. I think in the real world we will see at least 2 trade ups take place. I think that the Giants will get nervous for whatever reason. And just to be sure that they get their guy, I think they'll trade up to make sure that they get, the second quarterback or whatever. I think they'll move up. They don't have to move up much, obviously. They can move up literally one spot to be sure they get one of the 2 quarterbacks, and that that people believe in. And I think you might see a team like the Broncos make sure that they get, somebody they have their eye on. I'm thinking they might move up to get Tyler Warren, a spot or 2 to make sure they get him. I think one of the better teams might move up a couple spots. If Genty slides, might move up 3 or 4 spots. One of the teams is maybe picking in the 20s to make sure they secure him. But I think that we're going to see most of the activity, other than one early one, in the middle and late parts of the first round. Because, as has been said before, while there's 32 picks in the first round, teams will have a board with 14 or 12 or 16 or whatever names with first-round grades. And so when all your first-round grades are exhausted and you still haven't picked yet, most teams, if they can, will try to trade back. Because if you have a second-round grade on whoever's left anyway, why not trade back to the second round, where you're now expending a second-round pick to get a second-round player? And while some teams don't bother to do that, a lot of teams that care about maximizing draft value do. I think Abdul Carter has a very good chance to be the first player picked. While if there is a trade-up where either the Browns or New York trades up a spot or 2 in the case of New York to make sure they get the quarterback that they're eye on, conceivably Carter would then go either second or third, depending upon who trades with whom. Then I think Travis Hunter or an offensive tackle are going to go next. But I think it's a little early for any of the offensive tackles, though I could see maybe Will Campbell possibly going that early. And then we get to Mason Graham. I think Mason Graham goes somewhere between 5 and 8. I just can't see him lasting much longer than that. I don't like Will Johnson as much as other people do, but I'm hearing that other people like him a lot. And the Raiders could use, frankly, a little bit of everything. There's not a position you could name they really be like, oh, no, we're good there, right? They could use an edge. They could use a corner. They could use a safety. They could use a running back. They could use a receiver. They could use offensive and defensive everywhere along those lines. I mean, they could use a linebacker, though you probably wouldn't take a linebacker that early. So whoever they take, they can use. Will Johnson, they obviously just lost Nate Hobbs in free agency. They could use a number one wide receiver. For those who are not familiar with what's going on with the Jets, they're in rebuilding mode, people. So once again, they could use some of everything as well. But getting Will Campbell enables you to lock down a position probably for a decade or so where you don't have to worry about it anymore. Will Campbell, whether you think he's a guard or you think he's a tackle, you're probably both right. But either way, he's going to be really good for a long time. And then I think there's a run on tackles. I think that Campbell, Mimbu, Banks could easily go in whatever order back to back to back. Now, I am not as sold on Shamar Stewart as a lot of other people. Once again, love his potential, love his talent. He's sick, crazy talented, like crazy talented. But once again, as I said before, when I asked the young man for a comp, he gave me Jadeveon Clowney, right? So with all of that, well, all of that means. Now, what you love about him, his pure, untapped talent and potential, him probably the most physically talented player in the whole entire draft. Even over Abdul Carter, if we're just pure, undeveloped talent. But that second word is undeveloped. You don't like the UN part, right? You would like pure, tapped, and developed talent, but he doesn't have that. He admitted to me himself he doesn't really have a pass rush plan. He's working on that. He's developing that. Tyler Booker is one of those players that could go literally 20 spots later than this. But what I've learned about San Francisco is they're one of those teams that doesn't care about everyone else's value on a player. They could use interior offensive line. They could definitely use a guard. What they do on offense is very dependent upon having a really good offensive line, both in the run game and the pass game. They have a lot of things that require precision and development. They do a lot of counters. They do a lot of sort of tricky-ish run plays where everyone has to do everything the right way at the right time or it all falls apart. Tyler Booker is the kind of guy that will do the right thing at the right time. Jalen Walker. I've had other players mocked to the Cowboys here. I've had them take at various mocks offensive linemen. I've had them take corners here. I've had them all kinds of different things. Austin Genty at one point. I think if Jalen Walker is there, the ability to have an elite level or close to elite level pass rusher on either side of the alignment is catnip, or it should be to a smart franchise, because now you can't slide protection to either side. Derek Harmon is a player that coming into this process, most people had a top 50 grade on. A few people had a top 40 grade. Almost nobody had a top 20 grade on him. Things have changed. He's one of those players that I really heard in the last month or so is quote unquote rising. Now, what that really means is that the media people are catching up to the NFL people. NFL people have always liked Derek Harmon. And if you come out last year, you might have gone to the second. That's how much NFL people like him. So, unless there's a trade-up scenario where a team possibly trades up, like maybe Denver, or dark horse to trade up for him is Tampa Bay. Does Tampa Bay have tight ends? Yes. Do they like their tight ends? One of them, yes. But they're the kind of team that would love to have two elite-level tight ends. So don't rule out Jason Light maybe moving up. But if that doesn't happen, I could see him going to the Colts, who, stop me, you've heard this before, they've got a problem at tight end. Mo Cox is currently a free agent. Drew Ogletree, the former Youngstown State wide receiver who's bulked up enough to play tight end, is not exactly the answer. Kylan Granson is basically himself a big wide receiver. And Will Mallory, who is probably the closest to a real inline Y, wasn't able to push up the depth chart last year. Maybe that changes this year, but either way, they use tight end. And that brings us now to Malachi Starks. He could go earlier or later as well. One of the things that has been a sore spot for Georgia fans is that the Falcons rarely take Georgia players. But it's both a need for them, it's about where Starks should go, and it will actually make the fans happy, which is not something GMs really care about, but it's nice when it happens. I have had earlier Teteroya McMillan going earlier. I just have a feeling he's going to go later than people think. I just have a feeling. I think he's a good football player, and I think he'll have a fine career, but I think people aren't super excited about him in the top part of the draft. I think it's a really good wide receiver draft, and lots of wide receivers will be drafted, but I think they're going to go a little later than people think. Then we have Michael Williams. For those who didn't get the memo, the Bengals' defense was not good last year. And then they lost players off of their not good defense in free agency. So the Bengals, frankly, should draft defense probably about 4 or 5 times in this upcoming draft. And I'm not even joking when I say that. Then we have Matthew Golden. That's another player that people had a top 50 grade on as recently as a couple months ago. A few people maybe had a top 40 on him. Very few people had a top 30 on him, but that has changed. Now there's many people top 20 grades on him, and some people even think he could go earlier than this. But this feels about right to me. Once again, for those who hadn't heard, they could now use receivers in Seattle. They have an opening. I could see them filling that opening here. Now, this is another player that could go as early as 12 to my friend Greg's Cowboys. That'd be probably a little early for him. Or he could go as late as 31 to the Chiefs, right? The range of areas where Nick Emamori could go is that wide. Because, once again, while he's extremely talented and has, I would say, slightly above average instincts, he is a guy that definitely takes the cheese a little more than you like. You're going to have to get him to realize that, especially as good an athlete as he doesn't have to guess. Teach him patience, teach him to read it out a little better, and he gets a chance to be a star. I think I mocked him to the Steelers the last draft I did, but I think he's somewhere in this range. This, of course, is the perfect landing spot for Ashton Jeanty. He may go earlier than this, right? But should he make it here, this is perfect, right? The scheme he's going to run is perfect. It's the team closest to where he played, both in terms of color scheme, blocking scheme, and even physical location, right? It's about a, I think, 5.5-ish hour drive, maybe less, probably less actually, maybe more like 4.5-hour drive from Boise, Idaho to the Denver suburbs. But it's a perfect spot for him. It may not work out that way, but it'd be a perfect spot for him. This is I've mocked corners here. I think it had Jahdae Barron going there at one point. I've had at 21, I've had Emamori go there. I had Burton go there in a draft even. I mocked Luther Burton there at one point. I think Josh Simmons is a really good fit. Culturally, he fits a need. And frankly, they have very few actual left tackle types. The only person on the depth chart is Fontenot at left tackle. If indeed Simmons works out, that means they can kick Fontenot over to the right side and start moving some of those guys around to try to get their best 5 on the field. Colston Loveland, once again, this one feels almost too perfect. If for some reason Warren goes at 14, I wouldn't rule out also the Broncos considering Loveland, but I think somewhere around here he goes off the board. James Pierce, if there's a good place for this young man to land, who has admitted he does not like people, and it should be noted that the press are people, and they're sometimes annoying people. If he goes to like New York, if he goes to Chicago, if he goes to Philadelphia, God forbid, if he goes to, I mean, even Detroit might be a bit much for him. He needs to go to someplace like the Colts or Green Bay, right, where they have, I won't say mild media coverage, but less abrasive media members. There's no Tony Grossi waiting for you when you come out of the locker room in a place like Green Bay. So Indianapolis, Green Bay, it's the smallest media market, obviously, by far of all of the NFL teams. And the fans are almost unfailingly supportive of young players. So if there's a landing spot for James Pierce that feels like it might not exacerbate his social issues, this might be the one. This would be a perfect, but the Vikings should once again hurdle people if Barron is still on the board when they pick. He's my top rated corner, and he would be fantastic for the Vikings. He fits what they like to do. I mean, he fits what anybody smart likes to do. Emeka Egbuka is a player that I've mocked at various points to the Steelers. I've mocked at various points to Seattle. I've mocked at various points, even a little bit later, but somewhere around here he goes off the board. He's what I call boring good. And by boring good, I mean he does everything right, but nothing that sets your hair on fire, right? He runs his routes to the right depth. He understands leverage. He has good hands. He uses the route stem well. He knows how to do that little subtle push off where you just use the little chicken wing. He's a very veteran young receiver, right? He looks like a guy's been playing pro football for 6 or 7 years. But nothing about him just blows your mind. But is he an ideal wide receiver too? Yes. Guess what they could use in Houston? They could really, really use a healthy young wide receiver. And, once again, prayers up to Tank Dell, who I'm a huge fan of. I hope he comes back soon and is the same player. But either way, they could use him. Jihad Campbell's a player, once again, could go as early as, he could go to the Steelers at 21. He could conceivably go to probably not Tampa Bay. They don't tend to take linebackers that early, but they could use him. And once again, the Bengals, right? He could go as early as to the Bengals at 17. And I don't think he goes much past here. If somehow he was still on the board when the Ravens picked, then they would get it. But I think somewhere between 17 and 27, Jihad Campbell goes off the board. Once again, a check all the boxes guy. Height, weight, speed, athletic ability, mental stuff, leadership, toughness, check. If it weren't for this era of football where what I call pursuit linebackers, right? The traditional 4-3 type linebackers. If it weren't for them being somewhat devalued, he would go earlier than this. If a player of his type goes off the board 20 years ago, 30 years ago, he's in the top 15 of the draft easily. This is your classic Ravens scratch and dent sale pickup, right? Eric DeCosta almost roots for guys to get a little nagging injury, right? I mean, I'm half kidding when I say that. But when something comes out on a prospect that they love and it pushes them down, because once again, they tend to pick later in the draft because they're always good. So they always have to sort of kind of root for something a little bit to happen to players they like so they can still get them. Ravel is perfect. Marlon Humphrey is still good, but clearly on the back nine of his career. They have other corners, but none of them are as good as Siobhan Ravel. So I don't think he makes it past them if he's still there. Gray Zabel, I've mocked some other players here, but Gray Zabel is another guy who will definitely bite your kneecap. He is smart and tough and versatile. He could play potentially every position on the offensive line. Not all of them equally well, but he's been working on his snapping. I watched him at Senior Bowl practices working on his snapping. He's played tackle already. In high school, he was a tackle and has played both on the left and the right side in his college, and between his high school and pro career, has played on both sides as a tackle, and obviously has played guard in, once again, the Senior Bowl, but his practice is snapping as well, just in case. This is the player that going into, if you did a preseason mock, this Garton's probably gone around pick 14, 15. Things have changed for him. He didn't have an amazing, once again, the curse of Texas A&M, right? Every Texas A&M player that was supposed to be amazing has somehow been somewhat less than amazing and has been had at a discount. DeMarvin Leal, Connor Wegman was supposed to be a guy that came out early into the draft and went early as a quarterback. He's now on his second or third destination as a quarterback, and he's going to be in college at least until his 5th year. Something about Texas A&M, has I don't know, weird things happen to their prospects. But and of course, he starts to go to Purdue. Nick Skirton is a good football player, despite the curse of Texas A&M. I don't think somebody lets him slide much past here. And once again, like I sort of said with the Bengals, stop me for this more, but they could use pass rush. So much of what they want to do on their defense did not happen because they could not get consistent pass rush last year. And without consistent pass rush, even if you have everything else, you cannot be a great defense. And of course, they were definitely not a great defense. The Bills could take a lot of different players. That's a good thing about being a good team, right? But Walter Nolan, who, once again, another player, if you did a preseason mock, is gone somewhere by 15, 16, if not earlier. He was considered a top 5 or 10 prospect by some people coming into the season. He had an okay year, but not the season people were expecting. And his pre-draft process has been okay, but nothing scintillating. I could see him somehow making it here. Could he also go to the Steelers? Could he also go to Detroit? Could he also go to as early as maybe 17 or 18? I mean, once again, the Bengals could use any good players on defense. So I think the marketplace for him is anywhere as early as 17 to the Bengals and could make it as far. If he makes it this far, his slide stops with 30 to the Bills. And since Burton did not go to my Steelers in this particular version of this mock, and he did not go also to Seattle, which is the other two places I've mocked him, once again, a hurdle to the slide under people, John Woo fight style to the podium to make sure that you get Luther Burden III. This is a playmaker. And while he only ran in the mid 4.4s, we've gotten so spoiled about speed nowadays. Just so people understand, the mid 4.4s is faster than Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, CD Lamb. I mean, like if you name the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL, it's faster than over half of them. So when I say only 4.45, it's sort of tongue in cheek, but I heard people sort of disappointed that he ran 4. Get over it. But he's a terrific football player, and he's going to help you if you use him in the return game. He's going to help you there. Now they're tinkering with the kickoff return again, which if they move it again another few yards, that makes it even more enticing. And then last but not least, the rich get richer, as in this version of my mock, Donovan Ezeraku stays on the board a little longer. I had him going to Detroit in a previous version, which could still happen as well. This is a player that, once again, was maybe a top 60 prospect coming into the year, and he's played himself and tested himself solidly into the back half of the first round. That is my mock.
All right. So I'm going to throw mine up, and Greg's going to come up and clean up the front half of the show. So, like Bill, I have Abdul Carter going 1, but there's no trades in mind. Okay, I was looking at where I think trades will come in, and I was having a hard time figuring it out this year. This is 1 year I'm having a hard time pinpointing where the trades are going to happen. So I kept the vanilla for this one. But looking at the offseason moves, I do have some very different picks from a lot of other people. So Abdul Carter at 1 to Tennessee. I think it's still Mayo time in Tennessee. We won't be seeing any change at quarterback there. Cam Ward to Cleveland. They've already said they're more than willing to add a young quarterback to the room with the veterans that they have. I have Travis Hunter to the Giants. And the reason being, Geno Smith just signed. Russell Wilson just signed. Do you take a guy at 3, or do you pick the best player available and come back and take somebody around later who you feel could be a long-term option? I think that may be the way thinking of the New York Giants, not so much taking Shedeur Sanders there. So Will Campbell to the Patriots. They got to keep a quarterback upright at some point. They just got a quality receiver in Diggs coming in. Now, here's where my mini tackle run starts, right? So Campbell to the Patriots, Banks to the Jags. Jags, once again, another team who let a tackle walk in free agency. Got to replace him, right? Shedeur Sanders pops up at 6 to the Raiders. Why? Because Geno Smith is your only viable quarterback option in the room to start for you right now. We've seen Aiden O'Connell, nothing special there. All right, so therefore, Shedeur Sanders easily comes into Las Vegas, learns a year under Geno, takes over next year. I could see that happening. Tyler Warren to the Jets. Okay, they've added wide receiver depth over the past 2 years. However, tight end is not exactly the most sexy position on their roster right now. They could definitely use a Tyler Warren. Jalen Walker to the Carolina Panthers. Shaq Thompson just went bye-bye, right? They released him. Get younger at the position like that you do with Jalen Walker. Mason Graham to the Saints to bolster that front that's gotten very old up front. They know they need a tough defense. Kellen Moore is going to revamp this offense the way he wants it. Well, one thing you got to do is be able to stop the run and rush the passer. Mason Graham helps with stopping the run. He'll help collapse the pocket from the inside. He may not get a lot of sacks. He may almost get a lot of sacks, but he's going to help collapse the pocket. Membu, the third tackle in the top 10 to Chicago, which will please a lot of Bear fans who have been crying for a lot of help on that offensive line for their quarterbacks. Now, moving it to 11. Here we go with McMillan coming off to the Niners, reloading their wide receiver room. Debo is out. Word on the street is they're still shopping around wide receiver number 2 there. So they got to get younger. We saw Pearsall come in last year. After his off-the-field injury, played very well when he came back. Ashton Jonty to the Cowboys. You can plug several different names in here, but I can see this. If he falls to Dallas, I can see them taking him.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Jerry Jones would sprint up to Green Bay to take Ashton Genty. He would sprint from the war room in Dallas right up to Green Bay and hand the card to Roger Goodell saying, "This is my guy."
He needs an upgrade at running back, and he's more than content to wait. But when the best running back in the class falls to you at 12, you got to take him. All right. Will Johnson to Miami. Like I said, been trying to fix that cornerback room. We've seen – you got Jalen Ramsey, but who's opposite? Xavier. Oh, God, forget his last name. But anyway, they changed out on the opposite side. Injuries and many other things happened. All right, got cheaper.
Xavier Holland.
Thank you. All right, so they're trying to upgrade the left side opposite Jalen Ramsey. So there you go, Will Johnson. Michael Williams adding a pair to Kwity Paye on opposite side. All right, so that'll give them a pair of pass rushers that helps out their defense. Walter Nolan, Atlanta, upgrading their interior defense. Okay, getting younger, getting a little more athletic. All right, they just let go of Grady. I'm really struggling with these vets today. They just let go of their D tackle. So these guys are all looking to upgrade, and there's plenty of upgrades in this draft. Colston Loveland to the Cardinals. Okay, they let go of Zach Ertz last year. Need an upgrade at the tight end. Colston Loveland is it. Kenneth Grant, the other Michigan.
He's going to pair with Trey McBride, I guess.
Yeah, and McBride is good, but they want to run 2 of them. All right, so Kenneth Grant to Cincinnati. Upgrade the interior of that defensive line that was aging and needed help. Shamar Stewart to Seattle. A defensive coordinator that will find a way to get the most out of them is McDonald in Seattle. Jahdae Barron to Tampa. And the reason why I have this one here is look at the head coach. What is the first thing he said when he became head coach is help my defense. We're going to score. Okay. Yep. And we saw it with Kalijah Cansey coming in. Yep. And guess what? He needs help in the secondary because they've gotten old real fast. Jamel Dean is the oldest corner in the room, and he is starting to show signs of age. Opposite him, Zion McCollum. Quality. But Jahdae Barron's a definite upgrade to that position. So, and his eventual replacement, the Dean, if you want to keep McCollum on the corner. So, definitely it's an upgrade for them in the secondary. Mike Green, right, to Denver. Once again, I know a lot of people have certain feelings about Mike Green. I think, once again, he still goes in round 1, mid to late round 1. I can see him adding to that Denver pass rush. Hey, Bill, Jackson Dart, all right, and it should say quarterback on license. Cornerback. Jackson Dart to Pittsburgh. Listen, You have whiffed on every quarterback not named Aaron Rodgers so far in his preseason, in his offseason. They're going to have to go with somebody in this draft. And why not the number 3 quarterback in the draft at 21? Emeka Ibuka adds to that wide receiver room that's getting younger out in Los Angeles. I want to say San Diego so bad. But the Chargers, plain and simple, we saw McConkey come on well for them last year, but you need to add more firepower to that room. Emeka Ibuka gives you just that. Okay, Josh Simmons, all right, helps rebuild that Green Bay offensive line to help Jordan Love out, who took a beating last year. All right, Nick Emenwari, okay, to Minnesota, who has some aging safeties that they need to upgrade. Tyler Booker, once again, helps out that offensive line group that they're clearing out in Houston. Josh Connolly helps out that offensive line group that's aging in out there in LA with the Rams. Okay, Pierce to Baltimore. I mean, could that not be an easy fit for the Baltimore Ravens to find a way to plug in another pass rusher that fits right in that somebody else has some reservations about? Baltimore says we know how to get the best out of them, and they do just that. Siobhan Ravel, right, goes to Detroit and upgrades that secondary. We talk about secondary help. Harmon to Washington. What a steal this would be for the Commanders, who have had an amazing offseason. This would be the cherry on top. Luther Burden to Buffalo. Easy upgrade to that wide receiver room, adding speed that they don't have right now. They're more station to station at wide receiver than anything else. I think this gives them that deep threat that you got to worry about. And he's also a guy that could take a slant to the house, something they don't have. All right. Gray Zabel to Kansas City, a much needed element to that offensive line. So Patrick Mahomes would stand up and cheer for that draft pick because he knows he gets instant help that can help anywhere on the offensive line. We need tackle help. Great. Gray Zabel's it. You need guard help. Guess what? Gray Zabel's it. Okay. Creed Humphrey will love him. All right. Jahad Campbell. Oh, this is exactly how Howie Roseman's drafts go. To get a guy like Jahad Campbell to fall to you at 32. Howie Roseman, I mean, that's the Sith Lord of the draft room. Let's just face it. Everything just seems to go his way. All right. And that would be another case of things going Howie Roseman's way. Greg.
Hey. And Mr. Joe is here now. Mr. Joe, you lugged this draft, okay? Because Shedeur Sanders goes number 1. There you go. The Giants trade up. They give their first round this year, their second pick, and their first round next year, and they get Shedeur Sanders. The reason why is Russell Wilson only has a 1-year contract. Jameis Winston has a 2-year contract. Shedeur Sanders can learn how to play in the NFL. And yes, there you have it. Travis Hunter goes to Cleveland. I do not buy the Cam Ward meeting today that they had. Travis Hunter is going to be a cornerback for the Cleveland Browns because they want Greg Newsome out of town. So there's your 2 Colorado players right off the hop, Joe. Then I have Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans. Will Campbell goes to the Patriots. Mason Graham is most suspected to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. I've got Abdul Carter falling down to the Raiders because Abdul Carter has this stress fracture that everybody's worried about. So, hey, he falls down a little bit. Then I have Membu going to the Jets because they did not replace their right tackle, Mr. Moses. Well, they've got one now. To Troy McMillan, I still have him going to the Panthers. Tyler Warren, I have going to the Saints because, boy, that offense needs some help. Then I have Ashton Genty going to the Bears. He's just too much of a fit there. And then, as I said before, if he does fall, oh, Lord, Jerry Jones will be up off the wheelchair. He'll be sprinting up to Green Bay to make the pick. But I have Will Johnson going to the San Francisco 49ers. And then I have the best option for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care about any other position other than the wide receiver 2 position, which has sucked for the Cowboys for years. Emeka Egbuka is the best wide receiver 2 in the country. He's shown it time and time again. Jesse Hawley, the former North Carolina basketball champion, who ended up playing for the Cowboys at wide receiver, had this little quote. Emeka Egbuka has been surrounded by Batman receivers his entire career, and he's been the ideal Robin. What do the Cowboys need? They already have their Batman and CeeDee Lamb. Egbuka is the pick for the Cowboys. And then I have Calvin Banks going to Miami. I was in a mock draft these past 3 days, and Calvin Banks went to me at 35 for the Houston Texans because I made a trade down, and Calvin Banks was sitting there. Whoa, what? Hello? Okay. That just shows you how crazy this whole draft cycle could turn out to be. Jalen Walker I have going. Pardon me, Emmanuel I have going to the Colts because Tyler Warren is long gone, and we know Mr. Ballard loves his 10s, so there's his 10. Right. Then I have Jalen Walker going to who is that team? Atlanta, exactly, yeah, Atlanta, because they keep, like you said earlier, Bill, a player from home. Shamar Stewart I've got going out to the Cardinals. Then I have Mike Green going to the Bengals. Josh Simmons is a interesting case, along with Walter Nolan this week, because there's a lot of rumors flying around that Josh Simmons does not like playing football. And I'm going, huh? Because if you watch Josh Simmons play at Ohio State, he is the best left tackle bar none in this country. There is nobody that is close to playing as well at that position as Josh Simmons did before his injury. But again, we got rumors flying around. Then I have Jahad Campbell going to your Buccaneers. Then I have Colston Loveland going to the Broncos. And here you are, Bill, because Tomlin and Kahn and all the other coaches met with who? Oh, yeah, Jalen Milroe. There he is. He's your quarterback. You enjoy life, okay? Enjoy life, Bill. Then I have Mikael Williams going out to the Chargers. Jahdae Barron, I believe, is the same pick that you had earlier for the Packers. Yeah, I completely agree with Barron going there. Matthew Golden, here's my other trade. The Kansas City Chiefs move up and they get their pick from the Minnesota Vikings, and they take Matthew Golden. Then I have Tyler Booker going to the Texans. Luther Burden, I've got going him to the Rams. Then Mr. Boston College mean man. He's going to end up in Baltimore. Like, that's something that, just happens. Like we've said. I mean, they just sit there in that draft. They don't move, and bang, they just get good players, right? I've got Gray Zabel going to Detroit as well. Then I have Mr. Pierce going to Washington. Ooh. I could see him working out very well with Dan Quinn, though.
Oh, I think he and Dan Quinn will be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's defensive tackle is the number one need that the Bills have. So I gave them Kenneth Grant from that school up north. Then I have Malachi Starks going as you did, Jeff. I think you had Malachi Starks going to the Vikings.
I believe I did.
I have that as well. And then Nick Scourton, the SEC guy, because Howie Roseman loves SEC players. He goes to the Eagles.
All right. So we're going to transition from mock drafts for a moment because it's time to talk football with a real football player. So, with all your attention, obviously here on the show, we're going to make sure we maximize that and bring on Kendall Paul, defensive back from East Texas A&M. Kendall, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Not bad
Hey.
yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Blessed.
See, now watching the film, I got to enjoy it even more because I see a guy that plays in the corner, he plays in the slot, can
Yes,
play
sir.
over the top, gives us a lot of different looks. So this is going to be a real fun interview. But I
Yes,
like
sir.
to go last, and I like to let these guys go up and lead off. So,
Yes.
Bill, Greg, I'll let y'all decide.
All right. Well, I know you're a young man from Dallas, Texas, Kendall.
Yes, sir.
And I understand that you cheer for the same team that Bill Carroll does. The Steel Curtain or something. I don't like those guys, right? Because I'm a
Yes,
Cowboys
sir.
fan.
Yes, sir.
How did you survive living in Dallas, Texas, being a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers first and foremost?
Yeah, it was hard because like I say my whole family is Cowboy fans, going from like my parents, my aunties, uncles, just like everybody, my grandparents. So it was just hard, but like growing up, like the Cowboys weren't doing no winning for me. Like, not no offense, but they wasn't winning. So I would go to like Super Bowl parties, and my godparents were the biggest Steelers fans I know. Like they had a whole room just of Steelers stuff, and then so just younger, I think they went to 2 Super Bowls since I was younger, like 2 or 3, and just seeing them play, and then I was feeling in love with Troy Polamalu. I had liked his game. I tried to model my game after him, just watching him, and I just like Mike Tomlin, how he coached. Like I see how he had the players like hyped up, and I just like how they scheme on defense is like they aggressive. They want to get up to the quarterback and just trust their DBs, put them on that island. So that's why I just like.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, you actually survived, so this is a good thing. Because I mean, you know what Cowboys fans are like. I mean,
Yes,
that's
sir.
that's dangerous.
They hard on their team for sure.
So you were timed at 4.27, but then you came out the next day and ran on a laser tag at 4.31. Obviously, your speed is very, very good.
Yes, sir.
Do you prefer being on the inside or do you prefer being an outside corner?
Honestly, wherever the team like think I'm best fit at, because this last season was my first year playing in the nickel, and
Yeah,
I really loved it. Like I really like because I get to make a lot of plays that like I can make a lot of plays like in the pass game, and I can make a lot of plays in the run game. Cause I really love like the physical part of the football. Like I love that part of the game. But just like before this nigga, I just been on that island. It's nothing like the island. Like just being out there, just you and the guy, and you making plays like, there's nothing like it. So anywhere a team just want me to fit, I'm cool any position, corner or inside.
because you actually turn your head very nicely for a corner,
Yes, sir.
and that's a key thing that many corners do not understand, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's something that you did very well.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Bill, go ahead.
So I'll start first with your journey, right?
Yes,
A
sir.
guy with your pure athletic ability should have been, obviously, and deserved to be heavily recruited.
Yes, sir.
Take me through your recruitment process. It didn't quite pan out maybe how you originally planned it, but you eventually obviously found a home. When did you first start getting offers from schools, and who was on you earliest?
Yes, sir. So I think I started getting some offers after my junior season. After my junior season, I was on varsity, but I didn't play as much. I got in a few like formations. So like I got in like little dime. We had to bring another DB in. So I got an offer after that junior season. That was to a D2 school, like a low D2 school. I can't think of the name of it. And that's bad. But that was my only offer. So after the junior season, so I played my senior season. I finally started, got a lot of playing time my senior season, and I started getting a little buzz. I started getting a few more offers from D2s, and then I had Commerce. That's when Commerce was one of the best D2s in the state of Texas. So
Yep.
I took my visit there. I had liked it there and committed. But I knew my journey was gonna be like a little different just because my size statue. So I've been dealing with that my whole life. But everything happens for a reason. I think it was God planning to send me to Commerce because when I knew I was a D1 player. I always knew I knew I was a D1 player just from my skill set. Just playing against the people that went D1 and how I've been playing against them my whole life. It was just like I know I'm a D1 player. So Commerce going D1, I think 2 years until I was at Commerce into it, we went D1. So I had 3 seasons playing D1. So I say everything happened for a reason, just God playing. So I started playing D1 ball, and now we here. Now we here. It's been a journey though, for sure.
Yes, it has.
Yes, sir.
And we just talked about your ability to accelerate.
Yes, sir.
Where do you think your speed comes from? What things have you done to develop that level of? I mean, that's elite speed.
Yes, sir. I was a 3-sport athlete just growing up. Played football, ran track, and I played basketball. But so I ran track. I started running track when I was 6 years old, and I just always just been fast. But I can say soccer was my first sport too. So that was my first sport. They just had me out there running, So I just been running since I was real small. So just the speed thing, that just I don't know, and then in first leg, I ran first leg on the relay. So that was more about the explosive, how you get out. So I think that's good for my first 10 yards because I'm just so used to getting out the blocks. So yeah, just from a young age, I just been running track, and that's where I got my speed from. I say.
Yeah. And what were your personal records in track? What were the fastest times you ever put up when you were running track?
In track, I think my best 100, I want to say it was a 10.8. That was my senior season. I ran a 10.8, and then in the 200, I think I won 21 high. Yeah, and then I think we got some records I got a record in the 4x1 and then the 4x2 at Texas Relays at Bishop Dunn. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you made mention of your size. Now, what do you weigh right now?
Right now, I'm 168.
Okay.
Yes,
now,
sir.
is that where you want to be, or are you trying to still put on a few more pounds?
I'm still trying to put on a few pounds. I want to get to at least 175.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And when you were officially measured, what was your official height?
It was at 164.
And
Yes,
your
sir.
height? What would you weigh?
I was 5'9".
Right on 5'9"?
Yeah, right at 5'9". Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Brent Grimes.
Yeah. Oh, it was the Dolphins.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So, once again, a guy from D2, right? He went to Shippensburg. Now, unlike you, he wasn't even really good at me. Let me rephrase that. He was a good athlete, but he wasn't that great. He didn't have elite speed.
Yes,
he was a guy that had to get by with being feisty and annoying and sometimes even slightly dirty.
Yeah.
You have just tremendous natural ability.
Yes,
who are some of the players that you take from? You mentioned Troy Polamalu, and there's only one Troy Polamalu. Obviously, he's a true freak of nature.
The legend. Yeah.
Freak of nature. Hit like a 250-pound man. Despite being a smaller guy, and could run like a scalded dog. Would jump over the pile on short yards and goal line. Play everywhere from. Sometimes he would line up in the slot. Sometimes he'd line up at linebacker. Sometimes he'd line up almost like a DN. Sometimes he would line up, in strong safety, free safety, name a place. So that's a great player to model your game after. But who do you like to watch? Who do you learn from when you watch football?
I say Denzel Ward. I really like Denzel Ward. He one of those smaller cornerbacks that's just he a speedster. So I like how I model my technique after his, like how he likes to motor mirror. Like he don't really have to put his hands on you on the line. He could backpedal and just mirror you wherever you go, just run with you. So I really model my technique after him. Denzel, that's one of the best corners to me in the league. And I like an old school dude. Like I've been watching. Daryl Green. So Daryl Green, I know he was a smaller cornerback,
Right?
and he was a speedster. I used to watch all his videos when back in the day when they had the fastest man in the NFL. So I used to watch all those, just seeing how he's fast, and then I seen how he used to run people down. And he was just a dog. Like he'll come up and hit you too. So I like those two. And I say for one more, I say Darrell Reeves. Like Darrell Reeves, he was just an island. Like he wanted the island. Like he had that confidence. Like Dion, like I say Dion too. Like they just had that confidence. Like I'm the best on the field. So that's why I like. You gotta have that mindset as a DB. So you gotta think like as a corner for sure. Like you gotta have that mindset that you're the best on the field. So that's why I really just model my game after. I like those guys.
Right. And Daryl Green, right, 100, 200-meter champion at the Division II level, would have qualified for the Olympics. He ran a 10.03 100 meters his last year in college.
Blind.
Yeah. Oh, he was ludicrous fast. I mean, he's probably the second fastest football player of all time. He was crazy fast.
Yeah.
So that's a good guy, right? He's about your size. I think he never was more than about 174 pounds, even towards the end of his career. So he's a guy that played up, because of his explosiveness and his intelligence. And I'm still right next to him. So I'm not the biggest cat in the world, but he and I were looking at each other dead in the eye. So he's a good guy to learn from and model your game after. And I would say reach out to him because he's a guy that likes talking to young players.
If I could talk to Derek Green, that's one person I would talk to because like, I like watching him play. It was just like I see that he wasn't the biggest DB, like, but he was in there. Like he played like he was one of the biggest DBs. So, like if I could talk to him, I definitely want to talk to Derek Green.
Reach out to him. Definitely reach out to him.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
He will talk to you. He loves working with young DBs.
Oh yeah. I take a lot of game from Derek Green for sure. Ask him a lot of questions.
You played high school football in Dallas. Were you on the same team or the other team of Andrew Armstrong, the Arkansas?
Yeah, we was on the same team. We've been playing with each other since Little League. We played on Little League, same Little League team. Then we went to the same middle school. Then we both went to DeSoto at first, high school for the first 2 years. Then we both transferred to Bishop Dunn for our last 2 years.
Okay.
Then we went to Commerce together.
Okay.
He transferred to Arkansas.
Yeah. Right. Because of course Andrew's a 6'4" guy, and he calls you a real big defensive interrupter.
Yes, sir.
And so I mean the guy obviously you scrimmaged against each other plenty of times.
Yes,
and when you got somebody that big and that quick, and he's calling you an interrupter, I don't care how big you are.
Yes, sir.
If you could do that with Andrew Armstrong, you could play against anybody in the NFL. That's the bottom line to me.
Yes, sir. I say now, like that's the best receiver I ever guarded. Like so, me and him just going there at practice. I say it's like iron sharpening iron. So we'll just be going at it. We just making each other better. I honestly say that's the best receiver I ever guarded. Not just saying that because I've been cool with him for the longest, but I really do believe that for sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Jeff.
Oh, Bill's got one more.
I was going to say, which of your coaches was the one that finally sort of unlocked film study for you? Because I saw, not that you didn't study film before, but I could see sort of about halfway through your college career, it looked like your ability to anticipate and read route concepts just exploded. Like you seem to be kind of a guesser early on in your career, and then you went from being a guesser to a knower. What happened? Like who got you into really understanding tape?
I really say it was Kyle Williams. I say Kyle Williams. He told me, like, he used to tell me, like, KP, trust yourself. Like, trust your gut feeling. Like, if you think it's gonna be that, trust it. That's how you make plays. So I say it was Kyle Williams just telling me get more on the film. Like, because he used to say the film is a cheat code. So it's like that's like when you're taking the test, like the teacher is giving you like the cheat sheet before. So try to remember the plays. So I take that now. Just watch your film. Watch it. Like you watch more film. The most film you watch, the easier the game will be. And the game like will slow up.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I could see that it started to slow down for you.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's go back to film for one more second.
Yes, sir.
It's like Bill said, it's obvious looking at the anticipation, the
Yes,
ability
sir.
to recognize on an instant and fly to the ball. That was definitely part of your routine. How much of it was your prep routine? How much more film did you do on your own besides with the team?
Yes, sir. So we'll watch it with the team, but then just going home, like that'll be all I watch. So during the season, I'm rarely on the game. So I rarely be on the game. So when I go home, there's really nothing else to use to do, like watch TV or watch film. So I say film's my TV. So I just go home, just watch a lot of film, just watch the things that we missed, that we watch with the team. Just watch the little things, like, because when we watch a film with the team, you don't watch, like, you don't break down what the receiver is just doing, like I said, like how he released, or just the little things that they do before to tell you a play. You like, you don't see those little things just with the team. So I take that when I go home. I just watch the little things to try to give me a little more knowledge of what's going to go on the play.
So the ability to play outside, the ability to play inside. For those that don't know, those are two different reads, right? Those two different reads, right? So explain the difference between when you're playing that outside corner, when you're playing slot or over the top, your reads define the vertical receiver.
Yes, sir. So I say the difference is when I'm on the outside, I take it on more as like, it's just one-on-one, me and you. So it's like, and it just depends on the boundary of the outside. So I take it just actually as a one-on-one matchup. More on the inside, I say we're a man or something. I know I have a little bit more help. So I play an outside shade because I know I got a linebacker in there for like some short or like a post safety, and for like something that's more inside deep. So it's more just like where you know where your help is, but more on that, like on the outside. In my mind, I don't depend on no help on the outside. I just like, it's me on you, mano on mano. That's what I say.
You know, being a former short corner, you know, I understand the trials and tribulations of going up against those big receivers. I've matched up with 6'4", 6'5" receivers way too often. Give me your best techniques to take away that height advantage, because I was never a big vertical leap guy, so
Yes, sir.
I had to box them out to keep them from jumping over me.
Definitely.
What is your best tool? Because you're a lot faster. I never clocked faster than 4.4. So
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you right now, and it was a high 4.4, so I'm not even close in speed. So
Yes,
your tool to negate height when you're in coverage.
Yeah, mine is I like to beat the bigger guys to the spot. So if I beat them to the spot, say it's like a fade ball, and I can cut them off so they won't even try, like they can't get their hands on the ball, that's a win for me. Or and they do get to a spot, like if I'm on the hip and they get to a spot where they can get the ball, or there's a nice ball where he can put his hands on it, I like to play through his hands. So it's like, because I know I can jump and got verticals, but those 6'4" receivers, they can jump too, and like they already taller, so when they jump, they already a little higher. So it's just better to play through their hands instead of trying to play the ball all the time, because that's how you get moss, end up on ESPN. So I like beating them to the spot, cutting them off, or like the box out, like you said, like the box out, like going to basketball, or just playing through the hands. That's why I like playing.
All right. So one of the hardest parts about being matched up with those receivers are double moves, especially now with the ability of guys to stem and come off with the double and triple releases. It's hard to distinguish the double moves, because by the time they've got you to open your hips and commit, it's easy for them to break out and you're caught.
Yes, sir.
How do you negate that? How do you what's your technique for staying in his hip pocket so when he goes to break on that second part of the move, you're there?
Yes, sir. So that's something I had to work on, because like as an aggressive player, that first route, I'm gone. Like I'm gone. But I had to get taught to play that, because I started getting some double moves like ran on me because they seen how aggressive I was. So I had to learn that, like, you have to just drive to your man. Like, keep your eyes on your man first, because they're not gonna take a long time to do the double move. It's gonna be to for them to make that next move. So I say drive with your eyes still on the man, and then once they make that break, your eyes still on him, so you can flip your hips or make the next move. That's where your quickness come from, and like your drills where you flip the hips. That's where they come and play when you work on that, and then that's how you guard the double moves.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Now, we didn't show it in the highlight package, but it is in the film. If people want to see the actual game film, there's instances of you doing it. One of the hardest things for corners to do, now that it's very prevalent in the game, is those long routes that cross the field, whether it's the arrow routes, the deep overs, or just the drags. Now, everybody likes to run mesh, so you got to cover the drag route.
Yeah.
So how do you stay in phase knowing that you're running 50 yards across? It's hard to do if you have a speed deficiency. It shows up. You don't have that issue, but nevertheless, how do you stay in this hip pocket for 50 yards going across the field, whether it's a vertical, whether it's a shallow cross?
Yeah, it's just like I said, like I'm blessed with the speed that I have. So I say, me just like when people want to just open up and just run like a vertical route, I just look at it as a track meet. So let's run. So I just keep my eyes on their hips and just run with them. So like on deep over, it's just you got to really stay on top of those, because this quarterbacks now that if you undercut, like if you're playing on the inside shoulder and it's the outside, they'll throw it right over your shoulder. So I say it's better to play those playing over top of it, and then once you see the ball like flatlined or something, that's when you undercut it at the last minute. That's how I play it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What I really liked was the physicality.
Yes, sir.
Love to see physical corners, guys that aren't afraid to stick their nose in there and make a tackle.
Yes, sir.
Hardest part about being a DB these days is coming from depth to make the tackles. So many teams are playing the sub packages, the 3-3s, the 4-2-5s, where you have to now be a run defender even more than ever before.
Yes, sir.
How have you been able to come up and make these tackles from depth consistently, which is something that many DBs struggle to do?
Yes, sir. So that's just, I feel like tackling is really like a want to. So like you gotta want to do it. So and I just love tackling. I love making contact. So just me knowing I'm a smaller dude, I feel like I gotta initiate the contact. So it's like me coming up fast, and before they can make a decision on what they want to do, if they want to make a juke move or anything, like that what helps me. So just coming up with just all the speed I can, just like throwing my body out there. That's what I say. That's where that's what helped me with my physicality for sure.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So, have you had your pro day yet, or is it coming up?
No.
Yes, sir. I had my pro day. Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So you got to make sure we get the numbers. And I would love to get all the numbers plugged into your scouting report. It's much more accurate when we know exactly what you ran. So if you get a chance, if you have the numbers, I know sometimes those are like state secrets with some scouts. If you can send those over, would be great. But overall, how did you feel you performed?
I think I did great. I did great. Ran great. Drills went very smooth. My bench press, like I just wanted to get the double digits, did that. My vertical was smooth. Like I think I just had a very good pro day. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because I already gave you his 40 time, Jeff. 4.27.
Yeah, I heard the 40 time. I didn't know the rest of the numbers though.
My vertical was a 36.
Yep.
My broad jump I did a 10-1 broad. My bench press was 11 reps.
Okay.
And like I said, my drills was very smooth.
Did you do any of the agilities like 3-cone and short shuttle?
Oh yeah, my 5-10-5 was a 402, and then I don't know my 3-cone. I can't tell you that. I don't know.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. In other words, this young man has speed to burn. Bottom
Yes, sir.
line.
Yeah.
And he talks about Daryl Green to this Cowboys fan. I don't need Daryl Green reminders, okay? Don't
Yeah.
be doing this to me. It's horrible.
um, Kendall, have any NFL teams been in contact with you or your representatives about, if not a formal visit, even informally?
Yes, sir. I didn't had a couple formal visits with a couple teams. So after that pro day, that's when the buzz really started hitting, and it's just it's just been like this experience, this journey, just been exciting. Like I'm just enjoying the experience, like the experience right now. Just coaches hitting my agent up or calling down to my school or just hitting my phone. It's very exciting right now. So I'm just taking it all in right now. Yes, sir.
Which teams have shown the most interest in you so far?
Honestly, I say the Denver Broncos. I say the Cowboys, San Francisco, the Dolphins, and I say that's the main four right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
I had a feeling H-Town would have been in that mix,
Yeah, I
but
haven't heard from H-Town yet.
you just might, because I'm sending this video to somebody I know that's there. So
Yes,
therefore,
sir.
you just might.
Yes, sir.
Don't rule them out just yet.
Yes, sir.
So y'all guys got any last questions for him?
Well, my
Well, here-
last question is going back to film study. So when you went from being a guy that was just kind of running around playing on talent
Yes,
to
sir.
becoming a true student of the game, and like I said, you can even see it. Like the progression is right there on film.
Yes,
Give
sir.
me your favorite, what I call film study play, a play you could only have made because of something you spotted on tape.
Okay, that's a good question. So I say it would be. I'll say it was a run from UC Davis. It was a run play where I made up the middle, like I came and blitzed up a gap and made it like a TFL. It was probably that, or it was this play against Prairie View. They had ran a little screen, and then I didn't take a false step or anything. And that happened against Grambling too. I didn't take a false step like back pedal. I just kind of figured it was like gonna be a little bubble route, and I just exploded and made a play on it. So I had to say UC Davis up the middle of that run, or PV or Grambling on the screen plays.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Yep. My favorite plays, some of my favorite plays are you blowing up wide receiver screens. I've always said that the wide receiver screen, you can get people to take it basically out of their playbook if you are willing to give great effort at blowing up blockers, or if you can beat the blocker to the point where you are there, where the ball's being caught instead of being blocked. My least favorite thing is watching corners, get manhandled by, frankly, the least impressive. I mean, no offense to wide receivers, but they're not the toughest guys on the field exactly.
Nah, they don't want to block for real.
They're not about that life. They just aren't. So if you're getting blocked by a wide receiver, I'm going to give you you're going to hear from me in film study. I'm going to let you know straight up.
Yeah.
So what I love, Kendall, is that you don't let wide receivers block you, and never let a wide receiver block you.
Nah, yes, sir. Nah, that's not happening. So it's either if they are in my way, I'm finna like throw the first contact. Like I'm coming with the first. So the next time they do want to block it, they don't want to, cause that's like you said, they the prima donnas. They the pretty boys. They don't want to block. So if I show them the first time, I'm coming with it. Next time they probably not gonna come as hard like trying to block. But and they watch film too, so they see how hard it's coming. So that first time they might not block, and that's an easy tackle right there for a TFL. So
there we go.
Like you said, like the receivers don't want to block at all. I learned that.
Yep. Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure getting a chance to know you.
Thank y'all.
And hearing that the Cowboys showed interest in you, because of your size, you obviously do not fit the typical size of a Cowboys corner, but oh my Lord, would I love to see you coming up and hitting some of these running backs in the NFL in a Cowboys uniform. Because the guy that we're paying a big amount of money to, he doesn't like to tackle anybody. So hey, you can come and be on the star. You got it.
I see y'all just got rid of Jordan Lewis in the slot.
Yeah.
But that's where they like to stick their smaller corners. If you notice, that's where they like to stick them, is in the slot.
Hey, Deron Bland was supposed to be the inside corner when he was the 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Guess what? He's the boundary corner, right?
Yeah.
So hey, there's a spot open on the inside for you. You got it. And I'm getting good comments from your family here.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Cowboys, and all this other good stuff here that I'm seeing.
Yes.
So becoming a Cowboy isn't going to be as much fun for you, I guess, as being a Pittsburgh Steeler would be. But oh man, your family would be in heaven.
Nah, it would be love like being a cow. Like I'm cool with any 32 teams. I'll be blessed. So, but like just being a Cowboy fan, just playing with like where I grew up from, man. Like my whole family just loving the Cowboys. It would be crazy for sure.
You're a Dallas native, so it does get cold there.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, I know you're a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Be happy if you go there.
Yeah.
But be aware, there's gonna be some cold.
For sure.
It gets real cold in those mountains.
See, AT&T, we got that big roof up there.
Nah, definitely inside dome. It's not gonna be too cold in there.
So my last question is for you: is usually corners will have a game where somebody tests us, right? A guy is able to go out there and have some success early, and at some point in the game, we figure out the code.
Yes, sir.
What was that player for you that he was having so much success against you early, and somehow you figured out the code to crack? You cracked the code later in the game. What player in game was that for you?
Okay, I'm gonna say this in the most humble way, like the most humble way, because I'm very humble, but it haven't been a receiver that probably get more than 50 yards on me. So, like, I'll say one receiver that they had to figure out was, I say from Houston Christian, I see he had like a little 40-yard pass. I say he probably had like 30, 40-yard pass on me. It was one catch where, and he liked to push off. Like he liked to use his little length and push off. So I had to learn, like, all right, we're not gonna look back. We're not gonna look back for the ball with him because that's when he can get his little push off. It was just like you can see more of the push off if I'm looking like towards him, just looking back to play through his hands. So I had to figure that out. That's why I can say I can learn from that. That I learned from him that, all right, yeah, just playing the ball, you can't do that because he'll do a quick little push off where the ref can't see it, and then that'll just go like that. But yeah, in all humble, like the most humble way, it's haven't been a receiver that just had a day on me. Like,
I can say that is definitely the case because I think the number one receiver against you had 48 yards this year.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So yeah,
so
just my whole college career, I can't think of a receiver that just had a major day on me at all.
Well, I definitely think that you're going to have to continue to work on playing through guys pushing off because I'm just warning you now. You think you've been pushed off now.
Yeah.
Just wait till you run into the Mike Evans of the world and guys like that.
A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin in Washington. They all push off and they all get away with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you tell that the three of us all played in the secondary just like you did? Can you tell
this? Yeah. So this a little DB. This a DB little stream.
Yeah, right, it is. We should do this more often. We should just have DB meetings.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing is wide receivers will push you off, especially because you are your size. Yeah, they're going to look at you and think, okay, when he gets close to me, I'm going to lean on him, and then I'm going to, push myself up when I jump, right? That they love to do that, right? They love to basically use you like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
How do you keep guys from trying to physically bully you?
It's just being a dog. So it's like
Yeah.
People trying to just like push off. It's like I'm not going. So it's not like literally fighting back, but I'm not literally fighting back, but I'm gonna fight back like every time. So it's like you push, I take it as you push, I grab. So it's like you do a little push, I'm gonna grab myself right back into the play where like it's not too noticeable, like because I haven't got any. I think probably just one. I had one flag from interference just my whole college career. But like I don't do a lot of touchy like guarding receivers. So yeah, so like I take it as that. Like you push, I grab.
Okay.
That's how I take it.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
All right. So
now,
before I forget, the hot topic this week, if you've watched social media, has been, of course, Deion Sanders and
Oh yeah, Asante.
Asante Samuel.
Yeah.
Right. And they're talking about two different techniques, of course, T-stepping versus speed break.
Yeah.
Which team are you? Because I can tell you right now, early in my career, I was a T-stepper. I've fallen down plenty of times on grass. I've fallen down plenty of times on wet turf doing a T-step. The speed break saved my career. It made me a lockdown corner most of my career, even in the latter part when I was a step slower.
Yes, sir.
Which team are you?
I'm speed. Like I like keeping my feet on the move. Like I like keeping my feet on the pedal. So I'm for sure speed. Yes, sir.
I've watched that argument going on for days now, and I'm laughing because as a DB coach, I teach speed break because but I know not everybody has the foot speed for the speed break, so sometimes you do have to allow a guy to step. So to me, it's not universal.
Yeah.
So I know guys are going to swear by it because it made them great players, but for me,
I say it's good to have.
My players.
I say for sure good to like work on both though. Like you never know when you can use. You can like a T-step could be better for one like a route like a two. So if you can use it in the game, or if you know you can use a speed right here. So I work on both honestly, but if I prefer one, I for sure say speed for sure.
I mean, if you're a zone corner, and this is why I see Asante Samuel saying speed T-step because he was a zone corner. Yeah, it's the perfect technique. Your feet are settling down. All you got to do is one plate and shift your weight. So that makes sense for a guy like Deion, who is a press man corner. You're constantly moving. Your feet can't stop. So.
It makes sense. It makes sense for sure. Playing off because that's why I played in the slot this year. So playing slot, I have a few like on my film of just me T-stepping, like because it'll be like quick game, like third and short.
Bingo.
It'll be third and short where I'm not moving for real. I take one back pedal back and I T-step right up out of it. So that's why I say it's good to have both for sure.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
You mentioned trying to put on a couple more pounds. Now it's not like being an offensive lineman where you're going to just put down, 3, 4, 5, 800 calorie meals. What are you doing to try to put on weight the right way?
Eating fattening food, so I say my family is my everything. So they just helping me. They just making sure, like going from my parents, my aunties, uncles, all of them. They just helping me, like, cause my pre-draft prep was over with. So I had a nutritionist where I was at. So I was like eating there. They made sure I ate. So now it's just me just being at the house, just training on my own. So it's just like my family making sure I eat. They cooking, like A's cooking, Pop's cooking. Like they all just making meals, or I just keep on eating. Like either baked potatoes, steak, it's just all the fattening foods to put the weight on.
Nanny vet snacks.
Oh yeah, Nanny Vet got the snacks for sure.
See, I'm loving this tonight because all these Cowboys fans are in here, so I'm in happy camper. And they're telling me that you got Texas corn feed and Nanny Vet snacks.
Nanny Vet got the snacks for sure.
My last question, at least my last football question. I guess we'll talk food more in a second. What is your favorite DB drill? Which one do you think is the one that has helped you the most to develop as a technician?
I say my favorite is just doing like backpedaling and breaking. So I feel like that's DB 1-on-1. Like you have to do that almost like every play. So just backpedaling and coming out your break, just either going 45, going 90, or just going straight downhill. So I say that's my favorite drill just to do. Like that's some drill that I always do before the game, practice. Cause that's just DB 1-on-1. That's just every day. That's every play that you have to do it. So that's what I just work on the most.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm seeing all of the plans they have for you tomorrow, so we're not going to keep you any later. We're going to let you get going and get some rest because apparently they're going to be feeding you well.
Waffle House.
Waffle House tomorrow. You're gonna put on some pounds. This is it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Kendall, for coming on. Good luck with the rest of the process. Like we say, enjoy every minute of it. Not everybody gets to go through this. We're looking forward to seeing what happens on your path to the league. If you get your name called, we're here live all 3 days of the draft. You're more than happy to come on with the family and celebrate while we're talking nothing but draft for 3 days and eating turkey sandwiches. We're also here the week after, so if you get signed afterwards, you can come on and once again celebrate and say, "Hey, I'm going to rookie camp. I'm going to training camp."
Yes, sir.
And I can't wait to get there. So, thanks again for coming on.
To your mother, it is a pleasure to have Kendall on here. This is what we do: is we give focus to players that deserve the opportunity to be drafted in the NFL.
Right?
Are they the top 50 guys that we get on here? No, but these players, like your son, deserves the opportunity to be an NFL player, and that's why he's on here. So there you have it.
I appreciate y'all for sure. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, that is Kendall Paul, defensive back. I like to say corner, but I'm not going to just officially claim him as a corner. Defensive back, East Texas A&M. We're going to go to a commercial. We'll be back with more Team of BS Draft Central right after this.
A lot of money to be made playing the slot nowadays.
That's right.
We'll be back.
All right.
Streetwear is not dead. The next wave of black fashion comes out of the Bronx, New York. Rich Kid Clothing, picking up where FUBU, Rockaware, and Kyle Kanai left off. Rich Kid is for the next generation of Get Fly fashion heads. Use promo code MELLOW23 for 15% off your next order. And for orders over $100.
Draft Central is looking for an official sponsor. As the official sponsor of Draft Central, you get product placement in every episode, commercial advertising, and your logo on all Draft Central merch. Contact us at info@TeamMBS Media for more information.
In 2006, we founded Yeti Coolers with a simple mission: build the cooler we use every day if it existed. One that was built for the serious outdoor enthusiasts rather than for mass discount retailers. One that could take the abuse we knew we'd put it through, out in the field and on the water. One that simply wouldn't break. We decided early on that production innovation would come from necessity and first-hand experience, not from market research and data analysis. Today, Yeti products perform when it matters most. Whether that be an excursion into the remote Alaskan wilderness, chasing redfish on the Gulf Coast, or just getting together with friends in the backyard, we make gear that helps you stay out longer, travel farther, and live harder. Hashtag built for the wild.
You see it to the end, for real. Hey, I was wondering what it was.
We didn't realize Kendall was still hanging with us. Okay.
Yeah, he's still hanging. Because the Waffle House doesn't come till tomorrow, so
I guess.
And I guess the snacks have not been delivered either.
Not quite yet. Well, since you're still with us, I'll fire off one last question. What's your go-to order at Waffle House?
I say the all-star meal for sure. So I say waffle, grits. Yeah, my dad wants to get in it. Look at him.
Oh,
Hey, it's
Hello.
cheeseburgers.
Man, welcome to the show.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's bacon cheeseburgers and fries tonight, baby.
All right. All right.
Hey, we gonna get him there. The NFL is getting a pure deranged pit bull. You hear me?
That's what
I like
you
that.
need to be. That's what you need to be. And like I said, I wasn't joking. There's a lot of money be made playing the slot nowadays.
Yes, sir.
Work a lot on your eyes. Work a lot, and obviously, you're a good tackler, but wrap up more consistently, right? Get those arms around, because you're not going to be. You're a pit bull and deranged, but you're also 169 whatever pounds. You're not. Some of those guys aren't going to go down with a shoulder, right? You're going to have to wrap them up.
Not for sure.
Yeah, Derrick Henry isn't going to be a shoulder tackle. No.
No. I seen him today working out like downtown, because that's where I work out at. Seen him today. So just seeing him, I was like, oh yeah, coming to tackle him, I'm gonna have to bring it for sure. That's a big
Oh
dude.
yeah.
I used to say sometimes what I call you be an aggressive speed bump. So you make sure that as he's running you over, at least you trip him up.
Oh yeah, Dan, for sure. Like slow him up for sure. So my teammates come like, all right, come finish him up for sure.
There you go.
Get his ankle. Just get his ankle, because his calves and his thighs and all that, they could bruise you easily.
Yeah.
You just get that ankle and hold on, right? Just wait for your teammates to come and knock him down.
Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate you, gentlemen. Nice meeting y'all.
Oh, the pleasure is ours.
Likewise.
We're just thanking to you, and thank you for making time for us in this exciting time. This is the best. I mean, I know you get told a lot, but I was a scrub, right? I never got the opportunity. Jeff was actually pretty darn good, but he had life happen to him. I haven't been able to dig up any tape on Greg yet, but I'm working on it.
No, they don't. They don't have that black and white stuff available for you guys.
But I have watched Kendall Paul, and I've said to myself, that is an NFL football player.
Excellent.
All you got to do is be a sponge, bother the coaches, bother the veterans, that they're there to help you grow, and don't ever walk out with a question in your mind you didn't ask.
Yes, sir.
Ask them all.
Yep. Ask every question that's in your head when you're talking to these teams. Ask them everything that's in your mind. That's what teams want.
Yes,
they
sir.
want to know that you're committed.
Yes, sir.
And when you ask them questions, that shows you're committed.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Good information.
Yes, I appreciate it. That's love for sure.
Always.
Yes,
I can't wait to see you succeed wherever it is you land.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all for sure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All
right, you take care, Kendall.
Pleasure's
All right,
ours.
y'all too. All right.
God bless.
So we got through the box. We had an amazing guest tonight, and we got to
we
go
did.
long because he was the only guest tonight. We didn't have to, make sure we wrapped up on time to get the next guest on. We're gonna have some more coming up next week. We're gonna pull up the calendar and let you know what we have coming up. As we are into the April shows, the final month of Team MBS Draft Central is officially here. We're under a month for the draft. So it's about that time, guys. We're winding it down. The new tags are going up on the board this week. So we're going to start. All grades are becoming final. I'm about literally 3 players away from finishing up a position group tonight and printing out the tags. So I'm excited about that. Guys, we're getting to that point. And
I've already finished grading. I'm done. I'm finished grading. 450 players. I'm done.
Well, yeah, I got you beat on the
About
450.
another 8 to 10 days away from being done. It's like Christmas. I'm trying to, finish up all the shopping in time to wrap up the presents.
But next week we're gonna have defensive tackle Ricky Correa from Cal, DC Brothers linebacker from UAB, Phil Wilder, tackle from Cincinnati. Jalen is actually going to be on. He had a family emergency the last time he was supposed to come on. Tight end from UMass. He will be here next week. So we have a fully loaded show. We're going to talk. Actually, no, that's the 9th. We have HBCU show next week. So we're about the HBCUs, all the HBCU guys.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Carson Vincent, see if I can maybe.
By all means. I've been trying to get Jalen Goss. He's a hard person to get a hold of. And it's funny.
Carson Vincent was a draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys at the Steeler Fury mock draft, Bill, that I did with Will. And and I took Ibuka at number 12, and then I took Travion Henderson at 44, and I took Charles Grant at 76.
Oh,
But at 204, oh my Lord, Carson Vincent is still here, and he became a Cowboy that quickly.
that's a nice day at the office, Greg. That's a nice, not too shabby, my friend.
Well, if Will McClay and Schottenheimer and Steven and Jerry would just shut up for a little while and just let somebody do this for them, they'll be a much better team.
Yeah.
You know, Greg, the Bucks.
Yeah.
Me.
And Coach Schottenheimer was at the Ohio State Pro Day today as well.
Yep, that's true.
Greg, drafting here for the Dallas Cowboys is like it's a little bit tougher than circumcising a mosquito.
Yeah, they seem to make it like that. I tell you, it's absolutely horrifying. It is horrifying.
I think I got Jerry down. I think I got him down.
A hot dog bun. Well, the hot dog itself was pretty good too, Daddy. Or Steven, the pair of them just drive me up the deep end.
So, yeah, I found that interesting when I saw the argument going on over the thing. I said, "Well, we got a DB on. We're gonna talk about some of that." So, but that was.
But they played two different systems.
Correct.
Hello, why are you guys fighting and arguing about this? Asante Samuel was a zone corner. He used the T.
But it's perfect with zone corners. It's a lot to put on when you're in man coverage. When I played 90% man, a T-step was a risky proposition because if you miss, that dude is out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So you better know how to speed break and change direction and come up hard and be able to recover if he decides to go double move on you. Your feet had to be constantly moving. When I was able to play in zone defenses, I could T-step all I wanted because my feet were settling down a lot more if I was in shallow coverage. If I was in deep coverage, and I'm bailing, and even then you could T-step, but for the most part, then I still speed broke too. But when I'm settling underneath them in flats and cloud coverage,
right,
that stuff was simple. You just settle underneath, read the routes around you, and you may give up the fullback in the flat, but you don't let that tight end sneak behind you on that out. So that was stuff that we had to look out for, and it was real easy to T-step and come up on that fullback or that running back that was swinging out.
And like I said too, he understands how to turn his head.
Yep.
And that is something that drives me nuts with these corners today, not turning their heads.
Right.
They just don't know when to do it.
Yep.
And it drives me bananas.
I will say this: my pick six that actually counted, the first one didn't. I wish the 101-yard one counted, but inadvertent whistle took that away. But the one that counted was a speed out, and I didn't T-step on that. That was a speed break because I was squatting on it. I knew it was coming, and the minute he released it to the house. So you can speed break and get pick sixes.
Well, here's something for you, Mr. Deron Bland, Mr. Pick Six in the NFL. He T-stepped on 3 of those pick sixes, and he was a speed guy on the other. So there you have it.
Yep.
You could do both.
You could do both.
You do both.
So there is no argument for that to me. There really isn't.
Yeah, my favorite things are corners who tackle, corners who can catch the ball cleanly, and as you just said, ones who locate the ball when they're in coverage. My least favorite things are ones who mistime their jumps, right? You could have had an easy pick six, but you jumped too early or jumped too late. Corners who get blocked and stay blocked, particularly by wide receivers. That's repulsive to me. And anyone who is not interested in tackling, right? It's one thing if you're not a great tackler. I mean, that also bothers me, but I can kind of work through that. If you want to tackle, you're just not great at it. Well, you keep working at it to get better. But when I see a guy that's just not interested in tackling, I don't care how well you do everything else, that you come down in my estimation at that point.
Well, and that's why I mentioned Trayvon Diggs, because the man refuses to tackle, except for that one game where he was a dynamo. And in the DM room with Jeff, I'm going, who is this guy? He said something different today. I don't believe this.
Well, you know why? Because people were on the internet highlighting all of the whiffs that he had the week before, where it looked like he didn't want to tackle. So he came up next week with a vengeance, saying, "See, I could tackle."
Yeah,
so,
and that was his one time that he's never done this. But once.
But it's usually that's why they didn't want the fans and everybody to have the all 22 access, because now you can easily point out when guys are loafing. So now when they get called out, they come back at you. That's just how it is. Nobody likes being trolled.
The all 22 access, though, did do us a favor when PFF decided that yards against the corner counted. And I'm like, huh? Oh, because it's a Dallas Cowboy, we're going to do this against Trayvon. And then I said, okay. Most of those yards given up by Trayvon Diggs was late in games, and they were meaningless.
Yeah.
They were totally meaningless.
Well, I hate when you have coordinators who, when you have a big lead, play soft.
Yep.
Okay. So now you're going to start giving up the yards that you weren't giving up. And usually that reflects in the score. You go from 37-7 to 37-24.
Yeah.
Because they start giving up stuff too early late in games. You don't let up the dogs until 5 minutes left. Then you can start playing soft, because they go 3-4 minutes on that drive. They score a touchdown, 37-14, and you got a minute and change left to kill. Okay, as opposed to doing it start of the fourth quarter. Now they got 15 minutes. They go 4 minutes. You go get the ball, whether you punt or not. Okay, great. They go another 4 minutes. You've already let up possibly 14 points.
Yeah,
that's 21. 37-21. It's a ball game again. So I hate when they do that too soon. 5 minutes left, you can start to play your little prevent defense, and because now you want that clock to be going as though going dink, dink, dink down the field. Not doing it with 8 minutes, 9 minutes left in the game.
No way.
Too much time.
No.
You should still be aggressive. You should still be trying to get them off the field in 3 plays, not trying to play. Don't give up the big play.
And the Dallas Cowboys cannot do a prevent defense if their lives depended on it. They need to play 60 minutes a game. I don't care. You have to play from the opening whistle to the final one.
Yes.
And that's how you become an NFC East champion and an NFC possible championship team. Watch what the Eagles do, because they don't play no soft prevent defense.
No, they do. They run a lot of trap coverage in those situations, which is smart.
Yep. Bingo.
I wrote a whole thing about what they do back there, and they are pattern matching masters. Even they're young guys. That was what blew my mind, is how advanced Cooper, Jean, and Quinyon Mitchell were in correctly reading patterns on the fly. I mean, like guys who've been doing this.
We said that during last year's Draft Central, that these two guys were going to both be superstars in this league. There's zero doubt in my mind, because the Iowa defense plays a pro-style defense. Quinyon Mitchell played a pro-style defense.
Yep.
That is how you find winners.
Next week, we'll be talking about small school guys and HBCUs, and we'll be looking to find the winners in this year's draft class from those schools. But in the meantime, we got it under 2 hours. We're going to keep it under 2 hours. We will see you guys next week. For Greg, for Bill, for myself, thanks for watching. Thanks to Kendall Paul for coming on and his representatives. Great. Really appreciate it. Great young man. We look forward to seeing where it goes with him. Until next week, you know where to find us. Right here, 9:15. Greg, you have anything going on this weekend?
No.
Okay. Bill, you have anything going on?
Well, first of all, shout out to Atmanette and their snacks. And then secondarily, yes, I'm doing a mock for Zinni 62 Media tomorrow with Anthony Carrillo and my man Xenophon Abraham. Then we're going to get those who are interested. You'll be getting your emails if you've been a past participant in the mock draft Palooza. We'll have the 11th annual one coming up sooner than you think.
April 10th, 11th, and 12th.
So that those emails will start going out pretty soon. Get your boards in early. That way I don't have to bother you. And then I'll be doing it in coordination with Jim Wilkins' Draft Professor website and his draft tools. And he'll be, I guess, using this to help perfect the algorithm or whatever it is that powers that thing. But it is a chance to, one, help a guy develop what we hope will be the greatest draft simulator of the planet's ever seen eventually. And two, it's a chance to win not so fabulous prizes and pride that comes from being the top drafting team.
I still dispute that Kansas City Chiefs team that I had Karlaftis and Moore and all those guys correct, and nobody gave me any award. I don't care. The awards don't matter to Greg. No, they don't.
Well, Greg, you do things for your own self-satisfaction, and that's how you make sure that you don't ever have to wait for other people to validate you. You, like the guy who has the stamp in valet parking, you can validate yourself.
Exactly.
Well, Bill, I appreciate you saying I was a great player. I'm trying to figure out, I got a Hall of Fame ring. I don't know how I got it. I knew I was good. I didn't think it was great. But anyway.
I don't care if you made it in the Hall of Fame of your block. That's the Hall of Fame, my friend. You are a Hall of Famer.
I appreciate it. We will see y'all next week because we will keep going if you let us. We'll see you next week, 9:15 p.m. here on Team and BS Media. I'm definitely wearing out, folks. Team and BS Media. We'll be back here next week, folks. Take care. Have a great night.
Take care, everyone.